If you've ever endured abuse in a relationship, be it physical or emotional, I'm sure you've heard this from friends and family and loved ones several times over. What's stopping you from walking out that door? Very few people have an answer to that question, because the truth is, walking out of an abusive relationship is not easy, despite the trauma that you experience. You develop a separation anxiety that makes you believe that you cannot survive by yourself. It's paradoxical. Usually, pain nudges you to do something to change your status quo. But in romantic relationships, the pain inflicted on you sometimes ceases to have that power of being your motivator to leave. So you develop a strong connection that holds you tight with your abuser. This is called a trauma bond. It is typically seen in the case when the person who is abused begins to develop sympathy or affection towards the abuser. It's like a form of love addiction. You cannot survive without the partner who you believe you truly love and loves you back, despite the abuse. This is also called by some people as codependency. You might wonder, does everyone who is abused develop a trauma bond and become affectionate towards the one who traumatizes them? Thankfully not. So an obvious question is, why does this happen? What causes some people to feel such a deep connection with one who inflicts pain on them? What motivates this emotional abuse cycle? An important contributor to trauma bonding is unhealthy attachment. This happens when the abuser is the source of pain as well as pleasure. This way, the abused person turns to the abuser for comfort even after being abused. While it sounds pathological, this happens when people don't end up building meaningful connections outside of their romantic relationships. Because they're alone, they get afraid of abandonment, so they continue to turn to the abusive person for comfort, even if it is this very person who caused them pain by gaslighting them. It becomes a vicious cycle. Let me explain the pattern of psychological abuse here so you understand the signs of trauma bonding. Imagine you're abused and have nowhere to go to seek comfort. Completely isolated from the world, you want some consolation from someone, anyone. So you go back to the only person available to you right then, the abuser. In this state, you're most likely emotionally weak and needy. Also, your judgment could be clouded. You're convinced you can't escape, so you don't even try. And right after the abuse, what happens? The abuser begins to apologize and shows you kindness. He or she says that they never intended it and your behavior instigated the abuse. Plenty of apologies follow, maybe flowers, romance, sex, and more. In a twisted way, you start making meaning of the situation. You begin to think that you were the bad one and you must have done something wrong to make the abuser abuse you. You see the abuser as good and yourself as bad. You feel sympathetic and even grateful to the abuser for not letting go of you. You're convinced that it is your fault and you deserve the ill treatment. After which, you wait for the kindness. And this way, you get convinced into believing that whatever is happening is just fine. This is what reinforces the trauma bond. But what happens when you keep reinforcing this bond? You lose your individuality and you come under the abuser's spell. You endure abuse for days, months, years, and decades without having any insight into how your life isn't your own anymore. Even when someone on the outside tells you to walk out of this relationship, you cover up for that person or distance yourself from those who are trying to help you. If someone forces you out of the abusive environment, your desire to go back could be overpowering. It becomes a wicked spell that someone has cast on you. What do you think is happening to the abuser in this case? He or she gets more power and abuses you even more, and the cycle continues. If you see yourself or someone else justifying abuse, be certain that the trauma bond has become very strong. I know you could feel worried about finances, how you'll support yourself, or deal with a separation, fear losing your loved ones, worry about children if you have any, and so on. But you need to be certain of what you are safeguarding and what is even left to salvage in such a relationship. So, how can you break a trauma bond? Step 1. Open your eyes and see for yourself. If someone is making promises and repeatedly breaking them, they're unlikely to change. Don't live in a past where there was love, or in the hope of a future where you will suddenly see your abuser transform into the perfect partner. You will have to recognize why a narcissistic partner behaves the way they do, and that you are in an abusive relationship in the present. That is what you need to tackle. Step 2. Come back to reality. Don't be deluded into believing the mirage of a peaceful and loving future. You've been brainwashed into thinking that the relationship is perfect and you are the only problem in the equation. Acknowledge your fears. Understand why you are afraid to let go and what's keeping you in that suspended state. Once you're back to reality, the path to working on letting go becomes clearer and also more attainable. Step 3. Respect your emotions and become more in sync with them. You'll have to understand your weaknesses and be compassionate towards yourself. You can't be the one with all the faults in the world, can you? You can't justify all the wrong that happens with you to be a well-deserved punishment for your personality flaws. Know yourself and recognize what is right and what is wrong. Set your boundaries and decide what you will tolerate and not for the rest of your life. Step 4. Build your support system. Reach out to people, not just to discuss your problems, but to engage, exchange, and become involved. Place your eggs in many baskets so you're never alienated when one basket goes rogue. But above all, be your own safety net. Even if the world turns its back on you, remember that you can and you will survive. That self-worth, self-confidence, self-love, and self-compassion will tide you through every storm. You matter and you are enough. Always, always remember that.